Hi all, it's JK here, and this is the Cayman GTS test drive. It's an analysis video, and the reason for that being, and I'm absolutely gutted about this, I test drove the car obviously, as you can see here.
It was nice meeting you.
That's all right.
Right, what I'll do is I've got the...
But that's the only footage I got. For some reason my camera decided to pack in and only record the last 9 seconds of pulling up and getting out of the car. Really gutted by that, because it was an awesome test drive. The engine sounded amazing. I really liked the gear shifting, and me and the dealer were having a good laugh. I got the rear end out a few times because it's a bit damp out there. The car has 3 settings. It has comfort mode, sport mode and sport mode plus. We didn't use sport mode plus because it was a bit too damp. I should also add that when in comfort mode, you still have the option of either pressing the suspension button, which obviously makes the suspension firmer, or hitting the exhaust button, so that while in comfort mode you can still hear the exhaust note. So it puts the exhaust note and suspension in sport modes basically. Yeah, so it's very flexible. I believe you can do that in the Golf R as well, but it's a bit long-winded where you have to do it through the infotainment screen and through the driver settings, whereas on the Porsche, obviously there's buttons there already, shortcut buttons already there. Yeah, it's just another nice feature. What we did in the end was we're in comfort mode, but we put the suspension on firm and the exhaust on loud just to demonstrate it, and yeah, it's pleasant. Nevertheless, I still got the rear end out. Yeah, a crying shame that. But getting to the spec of the car, because obviously Porsche Caymans, well, any Porsche is heavily spec'd, which is the way with all cars these days. So it means prices are all over the shop. The thing about Porsches, they're a lot like Ferrari, where you can tailor anything through the dealer. So it's a £62,103 car. That's the most expensive car I've driven in a very long time. It's a 3.4 litre engine with a flat 6-cylinder block. It's 2-wheel drive, obviously rear-wheel drive. It's mid-engine, so it's more exotic than any other car I've covered so far in my YouTube channel. Obviously, it's petrol. It's got GT Silver Metallic, and it's done 10,600 miles. It didn't feel like that. It felt brand new. And yeah, it was on a 65 plate. Now, as I said, what makes this car so special, and the fact it will probably make it go up in value, is the fact that it's a naturally aspirated engine, 6-cylinder, and I can tell you it's a cracking engine. It's absolutely fantastic. Other equipment includes, which we're not really going to be interested in, but just for your entertainment, 20-inch Carrera wheel, 6-speed manual, Elimination Alcantara, full colour wheel centre caps, leather interior package in natural leather. That was fantastic. The leather seats, the leather dash, beautiful. Smelt good, looked good. It was in espresso colours, as you can see in the pictures now, I think. So absolutely, it's a charming car. As soon as you sit in it, it's a charming car. And if you remember, I myself, I'm not usually bothered about interior, but you know, with a Porsche, I suppose it's the kind of thing where if you're going to get a special car, then yeah, why not get the whole package as well? So yeah, it's just fantastic. So right from the off, okay, I sat in the car, loved the smell of the leather, reminded me of being in an Aston Martin. If ever, I'd suggest what you should do one weekend you're free, go to a supercar dealership and go and sit in the cars. You'll see what we mean by the smell and the touch. It smells immaculate, and this did smell and feel like a supercar interior wise. Soon as we got outside, the dealer fired it up and it roared like a supercar. The standard exhaust system is fantastic, brilliant, beautiful musical notes, delivers the sound of the engine very nicely. You wouldn't complain. So getting to it, what was the drive like? What was the ride like? Now here's where I was completely shocked. Okay, I was expecting basically a track car. I was expecting track car handling, very firm ride, a bit like if you've been in the FK2 Type R, not very comfortable, very firm. You can really tell it's a track focused car. This wasn't. It was very comfortable. it was as if I was driving. It could have been, you know, in comfort mode with my eyes closed. I'm ignoring the smell and the feel of the leather. I could have been in my Golf, or I could have been in the BMW M2. It felt just like a normal everyday car. At speed, in comfort mode, you do notice a bit of the softness in the suspension, a bit of bounce. So obviously you put it into sport mode. What sport mode does is, obviously it firms the suspension, and it increases throttle response as well, which in turn increases power. And absolutely cracking. As soon as I put sport mode on, we hit the first roundabout, my rear end came out a bit, so I had to step it back in. And we loved it. Absolutely fantastic. The other thing is, sitting in the car, it feels very small. It is a small car, it's just 2-seaters, but it's a 3.4 cylinder engine, so it's a far bigger engine than the Golf R. And yeah, sitting in it, it could have, it did feel like a small, agile, capable car. Whereas when you saw my BMW M2 video, you saw I sat in it, first thing I said was, oh, this is a big car. Not that that's a bad thing, you know, because it's 3 litres. But obviously, that's the difference between a straight 6-cylinder engine and a flat 6-cylinder engine. So, you know, it's how the proportions are coming across. And with it being mid-engined as well, very, very interesting. I loved it, absolutely liked it. Unfortunately, one of the things I was disappointed with, and another thing I'll get to in a second, was you can't see the engine. I said to him straight away, right, open the boot and let's have a look at the engine. He started laughing and says, unfortunately, you can't see the engine on this car. I was gutted because, you know, one of the good things I love about mid-engine cars is being able to see the engine. It's what I love about Ferraris, and I'm sure you do as well, being able to see that fantastic looking V8 or V12. And it's what I like about the Alpha 4C, you can see the engine, so which I'm also going to test drive as well, dealer allowing. So yeah, that was a slight disappointment, but you know, given the capability of the car, we can overlook that. The other thing that disappointed me was, and it's nitpicking and it's a bit of a bullshit point, going down the motorway, when he was driving, it's difficult for me to hear what he was saying, so I found it hard to hold a conversation with him as a passenger while he was talking. But the weird thing is, when I was driving back on the same motorway, I could hear him plain as day. And, you know, I don't know why that was. Maybe because the car was in sport mode, but maybe he'd switched the exhaust off, I don't know. But to me, with the sound of tyre noise and tyre roaring and with the sound of the exhaust, I couldn't really hear what he was saying. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe I was focusing on the sound of the car. What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Familiarising myself with the car and how it felt. It will please the passenger anyway, and your passenger will most likely be some very nice blonde or brunette. And yeah, it's a nice car, fantastic car. And getting to the actual test drive, at speed, we were on a B road and I was working the box. Now, one of the complaints from the media is that the gearbox gear changes are too long. I didn't feel that. Unfortunately, I can't show you, but I had my arm resting on the centre console and I was pretty much flicking with my fingers. Better gear change than the M2, definitely. The M2 was a bit clunky, and the gear changes are a bit long in that. But having said that, I'd still have it over a DCT because it's still fun being involved. But yeah, I've got no complaint with the gearbox of the Cayman GTS in the slightest. Fantastic. And then there's the engine. I really revved it. So did the dealer, and we were both laughing like madmen. And it just revs and revs and revs because of the extra cylinders. The Type R, EP3 Type R, also very high revving, but it seems to rev a lot faster than these bigger cars. And you know, that's the nature of the beast. A bigger engine will probably rev slower. I don't know. It just seems to hold the revs a lot longer, and it takes a lot longer to get there. But as I said earlier, I think from memory, and we'll have to, it probably shows in the screenshots, but it is a 9,000 RPM red line, whereas on the Type R it's a lot less than that, I think it's 8,000 from memory. I can't remember, been a long time. But yeah, it's really fantastic engine, fantastic exhaust note. The sound was amazing, sounds better than the BMW. It sounds, it's the exhaust as well, you see. It's just very sporty, very crackly. I love it. And to answer the question, is it better than the M2, and is it a suitable replacement for my Golf R? It is. It's a brilliant car. It is a replacement for my Golf R. Unless I become a millionaire and I end up test driving something like a Ferrari or a Porsche 911 Turbo, you won't get much better for your money than a Cayman. £62,000. Now, back in the day, you could get a R35 Skyline for that money. A lot more car for a lot less money. Supercar, obviously, but I think today's money they're trading at 100 grand, so maybe a bit less, 90. But so the Cayman really is the next step to a supercar. I suppose it is basically a poor man's supercar. Okay, so it's only 280 torques. It's only 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds, which is slightly slower than the Golf R DSG at 4.8. But it's not just about that. It's about the handling. It's about the feedback from between you and the road. And, you know, the car is the best in the class. And, yeah, it would be interesting going in a test drive in a Ferrari, or which will never happen. They don't let you do it. But, you know, or a Porsche. I'm sure I could get a test drive in a 911. And see what it's like, because I asked a question to the dealer as we were laughing and joking, and I said, how does it get better than this? You know, how can a 911 Turbo be better than this? And I think all he said was, it's a different concept. So that says to me the Cayman probably is, as handling wise, as you know, it's the pinnacle. That's as best as it gets in cars. And the sad question is, if you're a Cayman owner, you know, and it'd be interesting to get your feedback in comments, where would you go from a Cayman GTS or a Cayman S, or, you know, where would you go from your car next? It's interesting. Have you upgraded to a supercar? Have you retired? You know, maybe it seems to me if you can't afford a supercar after a Cayman, you'd retire and you'd put your slippers on and you'd potter about in an old Metro. Anyway, let me know what you think. Let's discuss it in the comments, and let me know what you think about the video. Cheers.